conformity assessment, the boards for healthcare and education to have international linkage for global acceptance. Other important tasks assigned to QCI has been to promote quality encompassing all the segment, including manufacturing, health, education, public service, etc. Mission of QCI is to make national-wide quality a reality. National Board for Quality Promotion (NBQP) has entrusted with the task of taking this forward and coordinating with all the stakeholders to promote quality in their respective area of influence. NBQP also running QCI membership and consultant registration scheme. Apart from this, QCI has special project group that work with various ministry in the government, both at central and state level. So one is PPID, Project Planning and Implementation Division. Another one is PADD, Project Analysis and Documentation Division. We have Z also, the Zero Defect and Zero Effect Division. So QCI also has a training capacity building cell, which is called EQUIST. EQUIST is an e-learning portal of Quality Council of India. You may visit to our website www.qcn.org for more details. So over to the faculty, Dr. Bajaj. I am welcoming Dr. Bajaj for for today's webinar, and I hope you will have a nice interactive session. We'll definitely share the presentation after taking consent from the from the faculty, and we'll also share one feedback form after the training program. So we are looking forward for your valuable feedback as well. So thank you, and I wish you all a nice and interactive session. Over to Dr. Bajaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kokila. Is the slideshow visible appropriately now?
Now it is perfectly coming, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's coming.
Okay, so I just thought that I will go off the slideshow mode and talk to the participants for a minute on video, because the video is not visible when the slideshow mode is on. Is that correct? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, I was saying that the video is not visible when the slideshow mode is on.
No, ma'am. You can on your camera also. Now this Ajit is taking care of all your slides, so you may say next, so he will take care of that. This is Ajit's screen, I guess. Ajit, ये किसकी screen है?
Ma'am, I am sharing my screen right now.
ठीक है, तो अजीत मैम next बोल देगी मैम. You can switch on your camera now.
Okay. Okay.
And now you can see the chats also.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Ajit, you're going too fast. We can stay on the first slide.
पहला ही वाला अजीत पहला previous. मैम next बोल देंगी तुमको.
Yeah. Okay. This has to be a little tricky, controlling the slides remotely. Anyway, thank you so much, Kokila, for your nice introduction, and thank you to Quality Council of India for giving me the opportunity to interact with all the participants. Very, very warm welcome to all the participants. Today's webinar, as you can see from the title slide, is on quality management and sustainable development. When I was thinking about this webinar, I was wondering what is the audience profile going to be. There will be quality professionals who have probably studied quality management systems and implemented them in organizations for several years. And perhaps there will be some sustainability people also who may not be familiar with the tools and frameworks of quality management, but in their own area, they are professionals and they know the sustainable development and sustainability tools frameworks. And then maybe when I was looking at the participant list, I saw a couple of people who are probably not professionals in either area, but interested in the topic. So I will start the first slide with very basic issues. Maybe for the quality professionals, they will be pretty repetitive and pretty simple, maybe kindergarten class. But then to have everybody on the same plane, perhaps we can go through the basics very quickly of both quality management and sustainable development. Ajit, next slide we can. Thank you. If we look at the discourse on quality management and the discourse on sustainable development, I have put the top 3 points that came to my mind here. Of course, there are many other issues also that we discuss, but As far as quality management is concerned, the first thing about quality in the quality discipline, they say, is fitness for intended use. So if you're talking about a product or a service, then the quality of the product is considered to be high if it is fit for the use that it is going to be put to. A very quick example, I started my career with State Bank, and I was posted in different branches, foreign exchange and agriculture development, which were poles apart in terms of customer expectations. So people who visited foreign exchange branch, they were very, I would say, impatient, expecting quick service, and they wanted their work to be done in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and be gone. But in the agriculture development branch, people would come from villages with their harvest sales, cash money to make an FD, and they expected to spend 2-3 hours in the bank. It was like a picnic coming from a village. So the kind of service that they expected in a metro foreign exchange branch versus the kind of service they expected in a rural setting was very different. So is in that case, the question arises: is service quality quick service or service that is more relaxed and taking care of the customers' other needs as well, to talk and discuss and exchange news, etc. So it all boils down to fitness for use, what the customer is expecting, what the customer's expectation is. If the experience matches that, then quality is supposed to be high. So therefore, in quality management, we look at fitness of use and not necessarily have independent parameters on what the specifications of a product should be. The specifications should be according to what the customer expects. The second issue in quality discourse is around standardization and consistency, because a lot of the work that we do on in quality management systems looks at ensuring consistency of the product. So every time the service should be as good as it was the previous time, or the product should be having the same specifications. If there is a change, then maybe the product will not fit the requirements. So we look at following standards in ensuring product consistency and ensuring the same output, the same thing every time. And finally, in quality management, we also have the principles of statistical process control. So we look at a process, we manage it, we collect data about every incident, and then we look at Six Sigma tools, etc., to make sure that the deviation or the variation is minimized and reduced to practically zero. So moving on to the sustainable development discourse, the issues that we talk about are quite different from what we have talked in quality management so far. So the main issue in sustainable development that we are discussing nowadays, and especially after our views post-COVID, we are looking at health and environment and related issues in a much more different way. So I suppose most of us now are very, very conscious of the need to prevent environmental and social degradation. Perhaps one would say that if somebody is not conscious that we need to prevent environmental and social degradation in today's time, they are perhaps living in a cocoon and not conscious of what is happening in the world around them. The second issue we talk about in sustainable development is about intergenerational responsibility. So the responsibility of the present generation to leave resources, the condition of the planet in a form that they can also have a good life, the same way that the present generation is expecting. And then finally, since I use the term sustainable development here, if we look at the sustainable development goals, the 17 goals that we have adopted globally, we also are looking at eliminating poverty and inequality, etc. Now, if we look at this, the sustainable development discourse in this way, it is very far removed from the quality management discourse, that the 3 points that I talked about. But let's see how we can move forward and try and see how quality management and sustainable development can go together, and organizations can take advantage of both the paradigms. Ajit, the next slide. Okay, so it seems that quality management and quality and sustainability appear to be targeting different results. In quality, one of the things that we look at is customer focus. all the quality management systems, the eventual goal is to make sure that the focus is on the customer and also on business results. So business results could be not just financial performance, but also results in terms of customer satisfaction, results in terms of employee satisfaction, results in terms of supplier relationships, etc. And then also a compliance mindset is there in quality, that we need to comply to certain standards, we need to comply with obviously the regulatory mechanisms, etc., etc. When we look at sustainability, it's not just customer focus. Customer focus is broadened to stakeholder needs. So it's not just the customer we are serving in a business organization when we are operating, going through our production process, our marketing and our sales, etc. We are not just looking at customer. We need to be conscious of other stakeholders also who may not be buying our product, but may have a very big stake, like local communities. And also, since we talk of intergenerational responsibility, then future generations also have a stake in what is happening in today's business. And then in terms of business results, it's not just financial performance. In sustainability, we talk of the triple bottom line. I'm sure everyone here is aware of the triple bottom line: economic, environmental, social. And then also in sustainability, the whole mindset is of social responsibility, that we do responsible business. Even if we are looking at profit making as the objective of business, we are still looking at responsible business and not just making money and then going away. We have to stay in society, we have to live in this society, so we have a responsibility towards society, apart from what we may have as our specific business goals. So when we look at target for quality and targets for sustainability, they appear to be different if we are looking at them from this particular perspective. But let's see how we can try and bring about some convergence. Ajit, we can go to the next slide. Okay, now if we look at some of the tools, techniques, methodologies, goals, enablers of quality as well as sustainability, there are some commonalities as well. The next slide. Ajit, next slide, please. From divergence to convergence, how can we bring these two domains together and see what are the kind of synergistic issues that we can talk about when we follow quality as well as achieve sustainability, or we work towards sustainability as well as achieve quality in our operations. Ajit, next slide, please. One of the things that kind of unites quality, the quality movement, and the sustainability imperatives is a long-term perspective. So if you consider our normal behavior, we are very focused on the short term and on our immediate surroundings. So most of the issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are immediate issues. Whereas from a quality perspective, we need a little bit of a longer-term mindset. If we are making investments in improving quality in the short term, probably we will not get immediate results, but in a longer term, we make today's investments because we know that in the longer term, they're going to yield benefits. So therefore, quality is not in the bottom left corner. A quality management mindset would be moving from the left corner towards the right side on the x-axis. If you look at sustainability, that also has a very similar perspective, because sustainability, whatever we do for improving sustainability performance is going to yield benefits in the longer term rather. Immediately, short term, we might have to make investments, we might have to sacrifice a few things, we might have to change our production systems, we might have to change products to ensure that whatever inputs are going in are benign to the environment, whatever outputs are coming out are in line with sustainable practices. They keep us within the planetary boundaries. So therefore, the longer term perspective is common to quality management mindset and to the sustainable development mindset as well. This is one of the threads that unites a quality management professional and a sustainability professional on the ground. Ajit, we can go to the next one. The second issue that unites quality thinking and sustainability thinking is process management. So quality professionals also look at process control, to analyze the process, to look at each stage of the process and see how the process is operating and try and keep optimizing and improving the process. So process improvement is a very common term used in quality. And similarly in sustainability also, everything is coming back to the uh, from the starting phase to the end phase. Here, for example, on the slide, we just shown three of the phases, right from the design to production, and then in quality we call it inspection. But in sustainability, obviously, there's no inspection. What is coming out is having an impact on the environment, positive or negative. And when we look at the impact, so we look at the results, we go back and see whether the production process needs to be modified, or we need to go back to the design stage and see whether the design of the process itself needs to be modified to be able to get the desired results. So in quality, we talk about quality assurance rather than quality control, because quality control is an end of the pipe solution. We need to go back to design and to the process flow in order to make sure that at the end we get the product that we desire, and we do not have to go through inspections and rejections and weeding out defective pieces so as to deliver good quality. Similarly, in sustainability also, the discourse is around going back to the design stage and seeing how we can design products so that the production process also reduces impact on the environment, on social issues, as well as finally when the at the end of the pipe. So we are not looking at controlling pollution or controlling problems when everything has happened. We are in sustainability discourse also, we are trying to go back to the design stage, to the production stage, to the consumption stage, to how consumers are using the product, also to make sure that the end result is having a benign impact on society, environment, and so on. Ajit, we can go to the next one. Ajit, next slide, please. Hello. Am I not audible? Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Just give me a second, ma'am, only.
No problem. I can see the slide, but I cannot see it in slideshow mode. Is that okay? Can everyone else? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one more tenet that unites the quality professional and the sustainability professional is leadership commitment. Because in any organization, when we want to implement quality management systems and quality tools and techniques, the first thing that we talk about is that unless the leadership is committed, things will not change. In fact, that applies to change management in general, because if the leadership is committed, then change management, then chances of the change management effort are likely to succeed. In the sustainability domain also, we are looking at changing the organization, and therefore leadership commitment becomes a very important ingredient of any sustainability related initiatives as well. So leadership commitment from that perspective is a common thread that runs through quality management mindset as well as the sustainability mindset. Ajit, we can go to the next one. Oh, data-driven decisions. In quality also, we look at data-driven decisions. That is one of the important tenets in the ISO 9000 standard, as well as most of the business excellence frameworks, where we look at unless decisions are based on real hard facts and not just on perceptions, we will actually not be able to achieve the desired results, which is probably pretty commonsensical. In the sustainability domain also, now there is a lot of data-driven decision making that is advocated through various methodologies, like, for example, life cycle management. So we look at data to assess our sustainability performance. We look at data right from the raw material extraction stage through the production stage, through the distribution stage, the consumer use stage, and finally the waste disposal stage also, that what are the kind of emissions or the kind of impacts that are happening at each stage. And some of these tools are pretty statistical and very, very data driven. There is a lot of data that is used in order to assess the impacts and to be able to figure out which are the hotspots and which are the areas on which we need to concentrate and focus our efforts. Because if we are looking at everything, then probably we end up achieving nothing. So we use all this data to be able to decide which aspect of the product's production or consumption process needs to be addressed so that sustainability outcomes become better. Ajit, we can go to the next slide. Hello, Ajit. Hello.
Ma'am, it is on the next slide, ma'am.
Yeah, data-driven decisions. Yeah, system thinking. Probably I get to see the next slide a second later or something. System thinking is another tenet that is common to quality management as well as to sustainable development now, because unless we look at the entire thing in a holistic manner and as a system, as different components of the system working together, we are not going to be able to achieve the outcomes that we desire from a quality management perspective or from a sustainable development perspective either. Because unless we have this holistic approach and we address, if we address issues only in silos, then obviously we are not going to achieve the desired results. And all quality management professionals learn that systems thinking is really important to implementing quality. And similarly in sustainability also, we all learn right from the beginning that unless we think in terms of systems, we're not going to be able to achieve the desired performance on sustainability criteria as well. Next slide, please, Ajit. Waste elimination. Now, this is one of the very important and practical aspects of both quality and sustainability. In quality management, also, one of the things that we want to eliminate is waste at every stage of the process. So when we analyze our processes, we look at the process flow, we also analyze at each stage what is happening, what is actually feeding into the next process, and what is going for waste. So controlling waste and reducing waste, and therefore using that control over waste to in fact improve the bottom line as well is very important in the quality management domain as well. In sustainability domain also, we are now realizing, over the years we have realized that the excessive consumption of natural resources is one of the reasons that our sustainability is being threatened. So therefore the new emerging paradigms that have come out now recently. In recent years, we have started talking about circular economy. We have started talking about energy efficiency. We have started talking about resource conservation of scarce resources. All these aspects are actually driving us towards looking at leakages and wastages in the system, so that we use only that is what is required and not use more than that, or prevent leakages, so that our resource consumption is also controlled. And in the circular economy discourse, we also talk about bringing back waste from every stage of the process back into the loop and recycling it as a fresh resource, or a recycled resource, or a used resource, or in whatever manner, because eventually wherever there is waste, there is going to be some leakage and there is going to be some loss in terms of financials, as well as now we see that it is not just a financial loss or just an environmental loss, it's an environmental and financial loss both together. Next slide, Ajit. And then there is this zero syndrome that I find that is very common in the quality discipline as well as in the sustainability discipline as of now. In fact, in quality, we talk about zero defect, and we've added zero effect now, because if we are producing products without defects, we also need to look at, in view of the environmental degradation and the kind of crisis situation that we probably are, we need to look at products that are benign to the environment as well. And in terms of climate change also, we are talking in the climate change discourse, we talk about net zero. In fact, in that discourse, we are going beyond net zero also. We are now talking of zero emissions, which is different from net zero, because net zero means the emissions that you give out and the emissions that you absorb. At the end of it, you get a net zero result. So it is not zero emissions. It is just that you have emissions, but you are doing something to neutralize those emissions and negate those emissions. And at the end of it, the net balance comes to zero. We are now started talking about in the climate change domain, we have started talking about carbon negative now. It is no longer carbon neutral. It is carbon negative and it is climate positive. So we are looking at now having more positive and regenerational effects for the environment, rather than just say that, okay, we stay where we are. In fact, we need to regenerate quite a few of the resources and other issues that we have probably degraded in the past. Ajit, we can go to the next slide. So when we look at integrating quality and sustainability, essentially what we are doing is we are looking at the common core that unites the quality and the sustainability disciplines. Now, one of the need to unite this common, to find this common core and unite the principles behind quality, sustainability, and if a quality professional is implementing some changes in the organization, they should also be delivering outcomes on sustainability. And similarly, if a sustainability professional is implementing some changes in the organization to improve its sustainability performance, they should also lead to better quality of the product and then business benefits, business results that are associated with implementation of quality. Otherwise, if we do not look at this from a common lens, then we are going to end up having so many frameworks and so many tools that will confuse organizations. In fact, there's already, every time a new tool or a methodology comes up, there are obviously professionals selling that methodology, selling that tool. And many organizations that I have interacted with in my previous years during training and consultancy efforts, we find that again, things start happening in silos. In fact, the quality management professional is looking at breaking silos and thinking in terms of systems. And similarly, the sustainability professional is also looking at breaking silos and looking at things more holistically. So if we do not find the common core across the two domains and then try to implement things in a holistic manner, so that whether the organization is implementing a quality management system or implementing a sustainability performance improvement system, at the end of it, they should be able to achieve the larger goals of having producing and bringing to market a product that has good quality, meets customer expectations also, as well as fulfills stakeholders' needs, and also performs well on the bottom line. So therefore, it is imperative that if we want to be really successful and good quality professionals or good quality sustainability professionals, then we should be looking at the core principles and eventually using those core principles in a way that we can achieve outcomes on all the fronts, and not achieve outcomes that are good on one end and deliver some problems on the other end, or deliver a good result at the cost of something else. So therefore, the need to find this common core and the principles that I just explained in the previous slides is very important. If we do not integrate our thinking about quality and we continue to think in silos, then we are going to eventually, it is not a long-term perspective, it's a very short-term orientation, and we will really not be able to deliver the quality that we aspire to. Ajit, we can go to the next slide. The core, again, I mentioned circular economy in one of the previous slides. If we look at the core in the quality domain, we look at waste as being expensive. Actually, if we have a quality mindset, we would not think about waste being something that is useless and has no cost. Actually, waste at every stage of the process is expensive, and therefore we need to bring that waste back into the system as a resource. that is exactly what the discourse in sustainability domain is around the circular economy. This slide is showing the butterfly diagram. I think some of the font size might be too small to be legible, but this is a very typical slide taken from the initial discourse on circular economy, when this idea of promoting the circular economy and improving financial performance, improving economic as well as environmental performance was being discussed. And as you can see from the various arrows, that at every stage there is a feedback loop. So when we move to production, from production to distribution to consumption, etc., there is a feedback loop at every stage. And then this feedback loop is not just in the man-made area, which is the factory operations, for example, it is also there in the biosphere. So whether we are using natural resources or we are using man-made resources, at every stage we have these feedback loops that can bring resources back into circulation. And a circular economy, ideally speaking, would have zero waste. At every stage, all the waste that is generated during any economic process is a resource for some other process. So there is actually, theoretically, there is no waste in a circular economy system, because whatever is, every end is like a new beginning. So wherever the product or the used product or a discarded product ends, it is the start of a new life cycle stage for that product, and it feeds into a resource as resource for a new process. Theoretically, this sounds very good, but of course, we know that in practice, to implement this kind of zero waste uh, situation, not just at a factory level or an organization level, but also at a societal level, at an economic level, at a national level, requires many, many enabling systems that will help the recycling and the bringing back those resources into the productive economic processes. So therefore, in quality, we consider waste to be an expense rather than nothing to be like valueless to be discarded. In circular economy, also we consider zero waste situation to be ideal, so that everything that is used or is generated, or we are actually looking at moving from the linear system, which is make, break, and make, produce, and break, make, use, and break, and discard, to a circular system where nothing is actually getting discarded. We can move to the next slide, Ajit. So therefore, if we look at common goals for quality and sustainability, it is around reducing waste, reducing defects, because a defective product is also waste in the system. And we are also looking at reducing resource consumption, which is a very important tenet in the sustainability domain. So if we are reducing waste, we are reducing defects, we are also reducing resource consumption, we are also, in the process of reducing resource consumption, we are somewhere benefiting the environment, because we are not extracting or changing the natural situation, or we are reducing the change in the natural situation. So therefore, the common goals for, if we look at the common goals for quality and sustainability, these are the things that are actually becoming very important, in the sense that now we no longer talk about sustainability as something that is a responsibility and a cost that we have to bear in order to protect the environment. We are now finding more and more ways and means to say that whatever is promoting sustainability is also promoting our financial bottom lines. We can move to the next one. Another issue that is common across the quality and sustainability domains is now around product durability and longevity of use. In fact, we are in the sustainability domain, the discourse is changing from use and throw kind of products, because those are the ones that need to maximum waste. And in fact, they stress out the waste management system so much that the whole benefit of a use and throw product is probably compensated by the losses that that take place in the sustainability related area. So now we are talking about products being durable and increasing the longevity of use of the product. Now, this doesn't really mean to say that we should continue to use the same product despite upgradations, etc. What it means is that the longevity of the use can be increased in the hands of different customers, perhaps, probably. So there could be a short life cycle for the product in the hands of customer one, and then it moves to customer two, where it has another life. It is probably it's a refurbished product, or it is repaired, etc. But increasing the longevity of use of a product eventually is impacting the use of resources to produce a new product, and also uh, uh, taking us away from this culture of use and throw. In fact, in the textile sector also, the sustainability issues, the huge sustainability issues are around fast fashion. So if you are buying a piece of clothing and discarding it, eventually there is, without appropriate recycling systems, that is again wastage that is leaking out into the system. And longevity of use will help us to it is considered as good quality also. A durable product is considered to be a good quality product as well, and the longevity of its use delivers better outcomes on sustainability also. So we now need to look back at this culture of use and throw, which is actually not good quality. It might be immediately satisfying some immediate needs of the customer, but eventually in a more longer term perspective, it is not really delivering a good outcome, either from a product use perspective or from a natural resource consumption and sustainability perspective. How to increase the longevity of use of products? There are various arguments and various methodologies being propagated. So instead of, for example, owning a product, why can we not have product service systems where no consumer owns a product but is just making use of it, and maybe a company that hires or leases the product is taking the product back, refurbishing or regenerating or recycling or bringing it back into the production stream. So therefore, we as consumers end up, and we can have all the latest versions, continue using all the latest versions without not compromise on using the most updated product, as well as not compromise on the sustainability outcomes that are created because of excessive natural resource use of the make, break, and discard cycle. We can go to the next one, Ajit. And the last point that I wanted to make here is around innovation and change management, both of which are extremely important to both the quality discipline as well as the sustainability domain. If we are in an organizational setting, if we are looking at improving or enhancing quality, we have to make deviations from the present, because in the quality management discipline also, it's a quality is not an end in itself. It is actually, quality is a journey. So with continuous improvement, with continual improvement, we are actually looking at improving the quality over and over and over and over on a continuous basis. So there is no end to improving quality. It can there will be more innovations, there will be more requirements, there will be changes in customer needs, and we will continuously be improving and making changes that will lead to better and better outcomes in terms of the product specifications, in terms of their fitness for use by the customer, and so on. And similarly, in sustainable development also, in sustainability, the stage that we are at present, we need to make a really transformative change, and it is going to be a journey towards better sustainability, more improved sustainability outcomes, because from the sustainability perspective, it is actually the knowledge, the scientific knowledge about what causes sustainability, what compromises environmental parameters is also not fully known. If you look at the sustainability domain, there is a lot of debate, scientific debate also around what is better for the environment. In fact, if we look at the present situation, most customers, even those who are reasonably educated and committed to buying sustainable products, really don't have full knowledge of what is really sustainable and what is not sustainable. One of the very common examples that we talk about is around the use of plastic. So as a general rule, we tend to think that plastic is not good for the environment and therefore we need to eliminate plastic. But if we actually get into the depth of it, then some of the products that are now being made out of polymers instead of being made out of metals or other natural substances like wood, etc., are, in terms of, for example, in terms of climate change, they are perhaps much better for the environment as compared to those that come from natural products, natural raw materials, because there is, with metals, there is a whole lot of pollution caused during the mining stage. With biomass, there is a whole lot of issues caused around the land use change stage. So therefore, what is really sustainable and what is really good for the environment is becoming very, very complicated as our scientific knowledge increases and we are able to find more and more ways to not use virgin resources. We will continue to improve on our sustainability outcomes as we find new and new ways to, and we have more and more scientific knowledge about what is the cause and what is the effect on the environment. So therefore, managing change and looking at quality and looking at sustainability as journeys where continual innovation and continual change needs to be managed are going to be extremely important and will underline and be the common thread across both the domains. We can move to the next one, Ajit. Hello, Ajit. Okay, so the concluding message, I think, throughout this presentation has been that a quality award, for example, in excellence in achieving quality, should also be congruent with the sustainability award. That this idea reminds me of one of the initial discussions on quality we had in an organizational setting, where we were talking about achieving quality and a good quality product being produced in a factory, but a lot of garbage lying in one of the corners. So how would you say that that factory is receiving a quality award because the process is controlled and impeccable, and every time the same specification, a uniform, consistent product is being churned out, and the customers are also very happy? But if there is garbage lying in one of the corners or unsorted material lying in one of the corners, then how would you actually deliver a quality award or say that the organization or the factory has a good quality? So therefore, similarly, the thought process goes behind it that any good product or a quality product, how can you really give a quality excellence award to an organization that is probably causing a lot of pollution or causing a lot of creating a lot of social problems in the vicinity? So in order to give a quality award, we need certain hygiene conditions in terms of sustainability outcomes, both on the environmental and social front. And similarly, if we are saying that there is excellent sustainability performance, it cannot be achieved without good quality product, without appropriate customer focus and good quality business results. So therefore, the concluding message is that a quality award and a sustainability performance award should actually be synonymous. So you cannot achieve quality without being sustainable, and you cannot achieve sustainability without following the quality management principles and change management issues that go along with continual improvement of quality in the organization. Ajit, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so the next slide is thank you. But before I invite the audience for questions, I would like to give a very quick introduction to one of the organizations that I am working with. So in my initial introduction, Kokila had mentioned that I am a director at Council for Research on Policy and Governance. Ajit, there are 2 more slides I have to show. Hello, Ajit?
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing it. Just
yeah, there were 2 more slides after thank you. We will finish at Q&A. Sorry for the confusion. We can go to the slide after thank you. Yeah. So I just mentioned that one of my current responsibilities is also being a member of the executive committee of the Forum for Sustainability through Life Cycle Innovation. This is a non-profit organization incorporated in Berlin, and it looks at life cycle management tools, methodologies, techniques, etc., for better environmental and social performance. This is a professional membership organization. It is open to everyone. It has a grassroots approach. The members decide what the organization works on. They propose projects, and then those projects are evaluated and voted in for actual implementation. And the whole purpose is to look at this scientific analysis of environmental impacts and social impacts, and use that scientific analysis to come up with innovations that improve sustainability in the longer term. So all of you are welcome to explore the FSLCI website and see if that is of interest to you, and I'll be very happy to answer questions or interact with you if you wanted to know more about what the organization is doing. We can go to the next slide, Ajit. That will be the last one. And you can join FSLCI as an individual member, as a corporate company member, or as a non-profit organization. There are different tiers of membership, which depending on your interest and depending on your situation, you would probably find it interesting. And in the right-hand corner, my email ID is there, sanjeevan.bajaj@fslci.org. We'll be happy to receive your queries and answer questions. And thank you so much for your attention. We are now open for questions and answers. Ajit, we can show the next slide and move on to question answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now, Ajit, please allow all the participants to speak up to use their mic. So please enable everybody's mic now. It's time for question answer session.
Yeah, I am just looking.
Triple bottom line. One person is asking about the triple bottom line.
Yeah, I am just looking at the chat.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the comments. I have the first comment I can see is from Mr. S.V. Subramanian.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Subramanian. Appreciate your comments. The next I can see is, do you think LCA studies contribute for quality management? Yes, definitely LCA studies contribute to quality management, because LCA studies also require you to map the process. So, and this process is not just a sub-process or a particular production process. It is actually the entire life cycle process, and then to zero down on the life cycle stage where the maximum impact or the maximum problems are happening, and look at those as hotspots, and then going for improvement at the process and sub-process level. So therefore, mapping the process is common to both LCA as well as to the quality management discipline. Hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Now your camera's mic is enabled. Now you can use that, all the participants, and one by one, you just introduce yourself and ask the question, please.
I think there was a comment on triple bottom line. So triple bottom line is a very common term that is being used nowadays. It is also called TBL. The three pillars are economic, environmental, and social. So therefore, a business organization, for example, should not just be looking at profit making, but it should look at economics, which is profit making, environmental issues, as well as social justice issues.
Yeah, you may ask your question also. Participant, please unmute your mic, and one by one, you may ask your question also, in case you want to. Otherwise, in the chat also, there are a few more questions, ma'am, if you wish to answer them. What will be the benefit to register in FSCI as a member? Mr. K.
Yeah. That is from Mr. Kanan. Yeah. Kanan, FSLCI member gets the opportunity to network with the sustainability professionals and like-minded and other like-minded professionals also across the globe. FSLCI is an international organization, so we have membership from Europe, America, Australia, all across the world. And the networking platform is extremely strong. You get to see what is happening across various various issues around sustainability, and you get to present your work also. So for example, if you are a member of FSLCI, you can propose a webinar and present your own work, get feedback from other professionals, and it is very well organized that way. Your access to different platforms and your ability to take feedback, to network with other professionals, to work on joint projects, etc., to come to know about employment opportunities across this domain. If you visit the website, you'll find out all the services that are there. Thank you. Is there any upcoming training program from FSLCI on LCA? Yes, FSLCI is continuously holding webinars on LCA related topics. There is a summer school also that happens twice a year. And there are other opportunities also in terms of webinars, for example, proposed by members. Then you can ask for a training as well. If there are sufficient members asking for a particular training, then FSLCI would arrange that. And in FSLCI also, there are two sections. One is for paid members, which has some premium content. And then there is a section that is free to everyone. Even if you are not a paid member, there is some content that is accessible to non-paid members as well. And also, while I'm on this point, for developing countries, for example, like India, non-OECD countries, the membership fees is a reduced discounted amount as compared to the normal membership fees. Okay, so expecting more light on CO2 sustainability in general, where can we? Okay, so yes, okay. I'm looking at Mr. Engineer Ram Teja's comment on sustainable development and circular economy is key for FSLCI. Actually, the name of FSLCI is Forum for Sustainability through Life Cycle Innovation. So the key is life cycle related tools, methodologies, and the benefits that life cycle analysis, life cycle assessment brings to our understanding of sustainability. Circular economy is extremely important. Sustainable development is also extremely important. But what FSLCI looks at is how to promote circular economy or to promote sustainable development in a way that improves outcomes across the life cycle. So we don't want to achieve outcomes that are at the cost, one is done at the cost of the other. So for example, in the raw material extraction stage, there is a lot of impact, but in the production stage, the impact is not there. Then we want to look at the entire life cycle. So for FSLCI, life cycle, I think I think there is some participant whose background noise was disturbing. Okay, it's fine. Okay, Kishwar, I think I have answered your question on upcoming trainings. You can visit the FSLCI website and see what are the upcoming events. You can also send a query on what you would like to see, and then we can figure out how it can be organized within the FSLCI framework. Okay, so Engineer Ram Teja, I hope I answered your question on FSLCI circular economy. Okay, expecting Mr. Dinesh, expecting more light on CO2 sustainability in general. I'm not sure if I understand your question very clearly, but in the sustainability domain, one of the major crisis points is the climate change that we talk about. And we all know that climate change is caused by greenhouse gases, and amongst greenhouse gases, the biggest contributor is CO2. So therefore, when we talk about controlling climate change or becoming climate positive, we are actually talking about becoming carbon negative. So our carbon emissions need to be controlled. So therefore, that is that's the way CO2 get linked to sustainability, because the more carbon emissions, the more greenhouse gases and the more global warming happens. And global warming obviously is one of the biggest issues that is currently being looked at internationally. And it almost seems like it is if you look at the climate change literature, it almost seems like climate change is the biggest crisis that is facing us today. And I mean, if we do not address that, then large tracts of coastal areas are expected to be impacted, or I mean, no longer just vanish into the sea. So therefore, the linkage between CO2 and sustainability is extremely strong. Okay. I am looking at the next one, how to register with FSLCI and benefits for registering as a member. I would suggest you visit the FSLCI website, which is fslci.org. And most of your queries will be answered. And in case there is still some question, you can always email me, Maria. I hope that answers your question.
So now we have come with the.
Yeah, actually, I just saw that I'm getting more questions on FSLCI. So
yeah. So if you have any question regarding Quality Council of India, you can reach to me and write to us at Quality Council of India regarding FSCC. You may visit to their website and you will get all the details. So thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us and for such a wonderful presentation. All are appreciating that. And on behalf of NVQP and Quality Council of India, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to ma'am, Bajaj ma'am, for being with us today for this session and sharing the knowledge. I hope it was useful and informative to all. Once again, thanks to all the participants. We hope the training objective has fulfilled. We are expecting that the learning from this training or implemented participating in your organization too. In case of any other training needs, you can contact me. Training or training, we can also have a full day training session but that will be paid only on this particular topic. So if you are interested, you can share that also. I have just shared one link for the feedback. So in that feedback form, you can mention that you want a full day training session. The faculty will also be the same. Dr. Bajaj will be the faculty for that. We are assuring this like without taking any consent from ma'am. But yes, I know she will definitely accept our request to take a full session on this topic. Session on this topic. And now that's all from Quality Council of India. We have a quality magazine, so where we print the photograph of all the webinar session. So it's now to switch on your camera and we'll take a photograph as many as I can, because since it's a virtual, so as many cases I can capture on the screen. So I'll take that photograph and we'll print it on the website. Social media and the Quality India magazine. So that's all. And if still you have some question, you can write to me and forward it to the secretary and she will answer to all your questions. Thank you so much. Regarding the certificate, since it's a free webinar, we are not sharing any certificate to the participant. But yes, we'll announce the full day presentation on this particular subject. So we'll definitely give you the certificate of Quality Council of India. The participant certificate will be given. Presentation will take consent. Once she will accept, only we will forward to the the presentation. And it will take at least 1 week's time, because it's, is New Year Eve is coming around. This little is coming in the corner. So we all are eagerly waiting to welcome 2022. So after this, next week, when we'll return to the office, then we'll definitely share the presentation if it is available with us. So thanks all, thanks the IT team and the learning portal also. And once again, thank you, Bajaj ma'am, for being with us. Time to switch on your camera, please, participant.
Yeah, thank you, Kokila. I just raised my hand. I wanted to say, if you can save the chat, then we can look at the questions later on also. And if there is anything.
Yes, ma'am. The chat is still there, but they can also, write their questions also.
Yeah,
We can forward it to you.
Yeah, and I think there is a feature to save the chat. We can look at the questions.
We have that. We have that. Yes, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, switch on your camera, please, and take virtual photographs. Photograph, 2-3 photographs we are going to take so that we can have more and more faces. अजीत सबको फोटोग्राफ सॉरी